Welcome back to our channel. This will be the last time people say that animals don't have feelings. Here are 5 emotional animals reuniting with their owner. Grab your tissues. Number 5. Woman reunites with chimps she raised after 25 years. To understand the profound bond between these chimps and this woman, a little background is necessary. Doll and Swing were laboratory chimpanzees. At the time, Linda Kobner, a 23-year-old graduate student, was enlisted to help reintroduce the chimps to the wild after their release. The chimps had lived in cages all their lives and were afraid to step out, to step on the grass, and even step away from the safety of their transport. For 4 years, Linda took care of the chimps.
In this world, so much knowledge about ourselves, about our social lives, about our dispositions.
Now, a whopping 25 years later, she came back. Even as her boat came closer, the chimps closed in on her. One in particular ran up to greet her as she finally arrived. What's even more heartwarming is the beaming smile the chimp had. Immediately, she touched Linda's face and then offered her hand to help her up. For the longest time, the 2 chimps hugged her. Number 4. Boy reunites with missing dog. From the get-go, you can tell this is a tearjerker. The dog, with an adorable bow wrapped on his neck, immediately starts getting excited the moment his owner, best friend, emerges from school, twitching and tapping his feet. Finally, the moment of truth arrives, and the dog races to lean on the passenger door and window, staring at the boy, who's frozen in shock. Then the water gates open as he absorbs the shock that he's finally getting reunited with his beloved pet. The dog tries to race to the back seat as he puts his backpack down, but it's not until the boy sits that 2 things happen. He heaves a sigh of relief, and the 2 finally hug, holding on tight enough to make anyone cry. Before we continue with one reunion that's guaranteed to make you bring out the tissues, just hit the like button to fully support us. Number 3. Young girl reunites with the horse she raised. This is a moving video where the younger woman who had raised a horse from when it was a foal reunites with her many years later for a photo shoot for her senior pictures. Immediately upon coming out, the horse seems to recognize Eva, even as she tentatively asks if she remembers her. After she lets Fritzy sniff her hand, she walks inside the enclosure, about to have one of the most emotional reunions you'll ever see. It's generally thought that horses don't have that much of an emotional reaction to things, unlike dogs and chimps, or even lions. But against all odds, as Eva carefully brushes her hand over Fritzy's head, Fritzy lowers her head and gives her what's universally acknowledged as how a hug from a horse looks like. The water gates open for Eva, who's ecstatic that her childhood companion remembers her. And to immortalize this memory, Eva and Fritzy proceed to take her senior photos together, beautifully capturing the heartwarming relationship the 2 have. Number 2. Lioness tackles trainer after years. As a cub, Kiara was brought to a shelter in Mexico, where she was raised by Adolfo. He was the one to give her her name, Kiara, naming her after the Lion King character. For years, Adolfo raised and trained Kiara, bonding with her, taking her under his wing, and looking after her. Eventually, it became clear that Kiara needed better conditions in order to thrive alongside lions like her. She was moved to the Black Jaguar White Tiger Foundation Sanctuary, separating her from Adolfo for many years to come. When the day to reunite finally arrived, her current handlers were wary. There was a chance Kiara wouldn't recognize Adolfo. Against all warnings, even as Kiara growled at their arrival, Adolfo still went in. To the world's surprise, the restless lioness's reaction was extremely wholesome and tear-jerking. She jumped on Adolfo, hugging him with all her might, eventually tackling him to the ground. All the time, she clutches at him with her paws and feet, pulling out all the affectionate stops lions can give. Number 1. Man reunites with gorilla after 5 years. There's a difference between reuniting with an animal you've been separated from, but they were still looked after in a sanctuary, or you were the one away and between an animal that has been released out into the wild. This is one of the instances where an animal that has been left to roam the wild for 5 years remarkably still remembered the man who raised him. Quibi the gorilla was raised by Damien Aspinall until the age of 5 as part of a conservation program created to transition gorillas to the wild.
He'd attacked the last couple of sort of human contacts that he'd come across, so he was considered dangerous.
5 years into the future, Damien went to Gabon, West Africa, to look for his old friend. No one expected the gorilla to answer, and the last 2 human encounters he'd had ended with him attacking them. However, against all odds, Quibi heard Damien's call. Not only did he come out, but he greeted him warmly and with childlike enthusiasm, hugging him and hanging onto his back. At one point, Quibi refused to get off Damien's back.
Old friend. Yeah, very, very sweet. And it was actually very difficult leaving him. He didn't want me to leave.
Then the most incredible thing happened. Quibi went on to introduce Damien to his wives, who were hanging by.
In their natural habitat.
When it was time to leave, Quibi demonstrated another heart-stopping sweet move. He followed Damien's boat along the riverside until he went out of sight.
Check out this video. It's specially selected for you. You'll like it.